What's going on, everyone? So James Harden had some interesting things to say in his little presser. And one of the things he said was that the Sixers had him on a leash last season. I'm not a system player. I am a system. And people believe that James Harden is going to be the savior for the Los Angeles Clippers. He hasn't even played a game yet, and he's already talking this way. I don't see it. Call me crazy. I don't believe that the Clippers are going to be that much better. I think that they'll be a little better during the regular season because, Kawhi, Paul George are probably going to miss games. They're going to miss some time. James Harden, he can show up during the regular season. You can kind of let him be James Harden, and he's going to be able to go and give you a win or two here and there throughout the course of the season that you may have not have won otherwise, right? But once you get into the playoffs, he's going to completely disappear. Can Paul George and Kawhi Leonard stay healthy? Time will tell. And we'll touch on all that stuff here in a minute. But I just think James Harden is James Harden's biggest problem. I don't see him fitting in and buying in. I think his ego and what he wants to be. He has said it all offseason. His interview with the Houston Rockets is what made Houston go, nah, we're good. Because he talked about how I want to get back to being James Harden of prior. I want the ball in my hands. I want to be Mr. Triple-Double. I want to be 35 and 12. And he's the third option on the Clippers. Literally, he's the third best player on the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard is a complete black hole. What happens with Paul George, right? So what? So James Harden's going to be the number one option on the Clippers? The whole idea is Clippers could really use a playmaker, right? So if James Harden is willing to be kind of that Nets type playmaker where he's just, he's giving you like 15 to 20 a game, but he's giving you like 12 assists, right? Now you're cooking. And this is going to be great. And Kawhi Leonard gets his, 20 shots and Paul George gets his 15 shots. And, James Harden is just being efficient and setting everybody up and blah, 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 blah. Like, there you go. Now you're talking a team that could be scary. Yeah. If he does that, I just don't see him doing that. Kawhi Leonard is a complete black hole when he gets the basketball. Yeah, he makes assists and he'll make plays here and there. Don't get me wrong. Like he'll pass it up when he's doubled or triple teamed or something like that. But usually if he gets the ball, he's shooting it more times than not. So the ball's very likely going to stop when Kawhi gets it. Paul George is a little more willing, right? Paul George will share the ball and make plays at times, but he's also their best difficulty shot maker, right? Kawhi is an absolute bucket, don't get me wrong, especially in that mid-range, but Paul George is the guy that is really good at just hitting those insane shots. I mean, you even saw it last night against the Lakers, right? He's just hitting these heavily contested fall-away shots, knocking down threes with multiple hands in his face. He's the better, just difficult shot maker, right? And James Harden, don't get me wrong. James Harden, I still believe could go give you 25 and 12, right? Or 25 and 10. I do. If he is the system like he wants to be. Is Ty Lue going to be okay? Is Ty Lue just going to say, yeah, James Harden, do whatever you want when he's known as a guy that likes to make adjustments and, one of the better coaches in the league at just evaluating and working with egos and all. Is he going to be able to convince James Harden to buy in? Is he going to be able to get James Harden to I believe I'm in it. Let's do it, right? I'll be the playmaker. I just don't see that being the case. I mean, again, James Harden's already talking this is his team. I'm going to be the guy. I'm the system. I don't play to a system. I am the system. What has you being the system ever done? You don't have championships. You don't have a bunch of rings. You're not, yes, you're a great player, but he's not a guy that, as the system, has all this crazy success. He has a bunch of great individual accolades, but he hasn't played winning basketball. He hasn't won anything, right? And the Nets were at their best when he was the playmaker. But you also had guys and Kevin Durant who doesn't need 20 shots to go give you 30 points. The guy is so efficient. And Kyrie is just an absolute wizard with the basketball and can play off the ball and hit shots, used to it playing alongside LeBron James, right? Like, you had these just elite level shooters, scorers. And so what? Like, and that's not to mention what happens with Russell Westbrook, right? Like, so what? Are you going to start him? Probably not. Maybe Ty Lue tries to make it work in the beginning. Possibly. But, okay, so you're not going to start Russ. You're probably not closing with Russ also. Is Russell Westbrook going to be happy about that? He's going from, being with the Lakers and being the sixth man and not liking that role and not wanting to play that role to going to the Clippers, finally being the starter, finally getting usage. He's been great for the Clippers. I mean, fantastic for the Clippers. He was even great in that Lakers game. And now what? You're going to tell him, hey, sorry, buddy, you got to go to the bench? And he's just going to be like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I won't close games. I won't start games. Because you're going to go with James Harden and Terrence Mann or whatever, right? I don't see this working out. I see this being an absolute disaster. You're talking about putting on a team 3 guys that are best with the ball in their hands. And look, there have been scenarios where it has worked, right? There are times where, look at Miami, right? With LeBron, Wade. Like, Wade was used to having the ball in his hand. LeBron, even Chris Bosh was the number one option, right? You got 3 guys that are used to being the number one option. They come together. Somebody has to make the sacrifice. Somebody has to be that third guy, Chris Bosh. Same thing with like Kevin Love, Kyrie, and LeBron. LeBron comes back. Kyrie's the number 2 option. He plays off the ball, allows LeBron to be LeBron. LeBron lets, Kyrie be Kyrie a little bit. Kevin Love becomes the third option. But you look at other teams that had success, like the Celtics, right? You had a guy in Ray Allen who was great off the ball and one of the greatest shooters we've ever seen. And again, was super efficient and didn't need 20 shots a game and didn't need the ball in his hands. You look at like teams with the Warriors, right? You have people, Steph, KD, stuff like that. I don't think that's going to... Again, super efficient, can both play off the ball. Both are great with the ball in their hands, but both don't need the ball in their hands to be effective. Same thing with Klay Thompson. So they're able to share the ball, move the ball, make it go, and it works. But Russell Westbrook absolutely has to have the ball in his hands. He cannot play off the ball. James Harden can play a bit off the ball, but he wants and needs the ball in his hands to be the best James Harden that you can get. Again, Kawhi Leonard, he needs the ball in his hands and likes the ball in his hands and wants to get his shots up. And then Paul George, same thing. He needs the ball in his hands and he's the guy that can go make shots and whatnot. Like, I just don't see a scenario where this is a successful formula unless James Harden says, I will be the point guard. I will make plays. I will scale back and be more of a traditional playmaker. I'll play the Chris Paul role a bit, right? And because James Harden is the best point guard that the Clippers have had since Chris Paul, right? And he is still one of the best playmakers and point guards in the league. He led the league in assists last year, right? But now he's complaining about it. The guy was 20 and 10 or whatever and he's complaining about it. It's a problem now. He doesn't like it. He doesn't want to be that. It's the Sixers' fault. It's the Sixers' fault because you were the second option behind Joel Embiid, who was the MVP. And on top of that, you led the league in assists, and that's a problem? Make it make sense, people. Make it make sense. I do not see a scenario where this works out the way that the Clippers anticipate does. And I don't even think the Clippers necessarily think that. I think Steve Ballmer wanted to do this because he's getting a new arena. Like, a lot of people have made that argument, have made that sentiment. And guess what? It's looking more and more like it's the case. And I don't know, maybe it does. maybe they do figure it out. Maybe James Harden, maybe he tries to do it his way a little bit and it's not working. So finally he comes around and just says, okay, fine, I'll play to the system. I'll play the way you guys want me to play because I just want to win. But he's not a guy that has, again, really bought into winning in the past. This is a guy that would rather, in the middle of a playoff series, fly to Vegas and go party and live it up rather than focusing and locking in and trying to win an NBA championship. And now he's in LA where he's like an hour flight to Vegas. Like, I just think this is a disaster. I mean, he said everything wrong that you could say when coming to a new team that has 3 other top 75 guys on it, or 2 top 75 guys and another guy in Paul George who is, a fringe Hall of Fame guy, right? And it's not your team, but he's coming in, kicking the door in like, no, this is my team. Again, make it make sense. I just don't buy it. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you think that, it works? Do you think it doesn't? Do you think James Harden eventually buys in? Do you think he doesn't? How do you feel? What your thoughts are? I'd love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below.